Alright, what's going on, everybody? So, today I'm going to be bringing you guys my review for The God of High School. Now, if you guys have seen my other video reviews, if you guys have seen my other anime reviews and stuff, and like normally I wouldn't do it this way. Normally I would script my reviews out. I usually don't go on camera like this doing reviews or anything. But I would say this review is a special sort of situation here. Whereas with my other reviews, what I usually do with my anime reviews and with like other type of reviews that I have done before, such as like movie reviews or video game reviews, I usually like to script stuff out because I'm just that type of person that if I kind of go off the cuff, I usually could sometimes come off as being very scatterbrained. But I decided to go ahead and do this review unscripted simply because of the amount of time that it's gonna probably take me to kind of get my thoughts together, kind of script everything out. And given what this week is, for those of y'all that are really into video games and are gamers and stuff, y'all already know Cyberpunk is coming out this week. And I didn't want to spend a lot of my time this week, editing a review on top of on top of anything else that's gonna be kind of coming out this week in terms of video game announcements and anime and any potential anime related announcements that come out. There's stuff that I'm going to want to there's probably going to be stuff that I'm going to want to make videos on, and stuff that I'm kind of ideas for videos and other stuff that I want to do or may want to do, that I decided, what, I'm probably going to be too busy, so let me go ahead and just kind of tackle this review in this sort of format. So hopefully this turns out well, and I should go ahead and just kind of give a disclaimer already. So here's the thing. For those of y'all that don't know what God of High School is, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all already know what this is. But for those of y'all that don't know what it is, it's essentially a collaboration between um, Webtoons and Crunchyroll. And when this got announced, this was earlier this year. I want to say back in March. I could be totally wrong about the date, but it was sometime earlier this year where they basically Crunchyroll talked about they pretty much announced the fact that they were doing their own original series, and that three of these series were going to be coming from Webtoons, and three of those series, one of which being the God of High School, the other one Tower of God, and the other one being Nobilis. And when I saw the trailer for this, and I think I've said this on another video, but when I saw the trailer for the God of High School, um, I wasn't impressed by it. And that's not to say that I thought that it was going to be a terrible show. I just kind of saw the trailer and was like, yeah, this looks like it's gonna be shonen junk food. It looked like based off of just the first trailer that I saw, like my first impression was, okay, this looks like shonen junk food. And then when I saw the second trailer, I'm like, yeah, I'm not a fan of these character designs. I remember leaving a comment that was like, these character designs and it was something else. It was the character designs, and I think I said the art style. I was like, yeah, this looks very meh. It looks very meh. I'm sorry, it looks very meh. And then I remember there was like two people that got angry and pissy with me. Like I literally woke up that morning and just saw the trailer randomly and decided to watch the trailer and just left a comment. And somebody was like, ugh, ugh, nobody cares about your comment. Like nobody cares about your opinion. Nobody asks about your opinion. Your opinion doesn't matter. I'm like, dude, like, cause here's the thing, guys. People were hyping this up, and I get it. Like, if you're a fan of a manga and you're finally seeing it, and obviously it's a webtoon. It's coming from a webtoon. It's coming from the Webtoons website, but let's just say manga because that's kind of what it is, or at least that's the best thing that we can kind of compare it to. Manga, webtoon, whatever, what have you. If you're a fan of the webtoon, I've seen a lot of people that were fans of the webtoons that was getting excited for this, and you have every right to get excited about the stuff that you love, and that's something that I like. that's something that you can't let anyone take away from you as far as getting hyped for stuff. But I said this with my Jujutsu Kaisen first impressions, and I'll say it again. Get hyped for something if it's really good. Don't get hyped for it simply. Like, here's the thing: you can hype something up if you like it, but like at the same time, if it's not very good, if it's not this most amazing thing, don't sit up here and be like, oh, this is gonna be revolutionary, da da da. But if you're a big fan of it and you love it and you can't wait to see it, by all means. And I say all that to say that a lot of people left this show disappointed. I think it's safe to say that by the end of this series, after everybody watched this, from what I can tell over the past few weeks, in terms of looking at the internet, in regards to this show, yeah, I'm seeing people call it the god of mid school and the god of it was the god of mid school and the god of confusion, and it seemed like the the overall impression was exactly what I thought it was going to be, in the first place. It was basically, um, people were basically feeling the exact way that I felt the first time I watched the trailer. I'm just like, oh, well now we're all on the same page. We're now on the same page. It's pretty. This was a pretty middle of the road show, and it's not to say that it was bad because, and then we'll get into it, but I don't think it was bad. I think honestly, when it comes to all of these webtoon cartoons, well, webtoon animes, when it comes to all these webtoon animes, you can say what you like in regards to the anime adaptations and whether or not these were good adaptations or not, or whether these were bad adaptations or whatever. But I don't think that these were bad anime, and that goes for God of High School, that goes for Nobilis, and that goes for Tower God especially, because I thought that was a really good show. But we'll save that for another day. But yeah, I don't think any of these shows were bad. Honestly, when this first came out, I remember my brother texting me about it, and he was like, "Yo, this is amazing. Have you seen this?" And I was like, "Man, there's a lot of anime out right now. Re Zero just got a new season." I'm like, I'll check it out later. He's like, "Watch it now, you coward! Watch it now, you coward!" And I'm just like, you know what? I'll watch it when it gets dubbed. I'll watch it when the dub finishes, right? And the dub just finished a few weeks ago, and actually I was supposed to watch this a few weeks ago after the dub ended, but I ended up just not having time to do it. So we're doing this now, right? But yeah, so I finished the show today. I marathoned it, basically binge watched it, finished it within 2 days. So if I missed some context and stuff, because again, the show was fresh in my head, but I binge watched it, and usually if you watch, well, I can't speak for everybody, but usually if I'm like watching stuff nonstop, there is a possibility that I'm gonna be missing, that I might miss a few things or whatever here or there. But I feel like I got pretty much everything out of this. Um, with God of High School, if I had to describe it, if I had to describe it simply, like it's pretty much uh, Tekken the anime. Let's see. It's pretty much Tekken the anime, but with a Dragon Ball mix. That's kind of like the weird description that I would give this. This really felt like watching Tekken or Street Fighter, but with a supernatural sort of element to it, and not necessarily like supernatural as in like ghost and stuff like that, obviously, but uh obviously with gods and stuff like that. Um, so overall, so like let's just go ahead and get into this. So the basic plot of this show, right? The basic plot, there's this tournament. There is this tournament called the God of High School. It's being televised all throughout Korea, and we have these people throughout the show. We have the organizers, the people that are part of the committee, and they have organized this event. There's a reason, there's a goal that they're trying to accomplish with this event. There's something going on, behind the scenes. They're trying to um, get this key, and I'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum. I'll try. Keyword is try, but they're trying to get this key, essentially what it is. And the same thing with this bad group that comes that comes out that not comes out, but this bad group that ends up getting introduced later on, called the Nox. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And I might mispronounce certain names and stuff in this, and I might have to look up a few of the character names and stuff. And so forgive me for that, and just be a little lenient with me on that, because one of the things that kind of, it's not a big criticism or anything like that, and I honestly can't knock them for this. Um, it's like the names of the characters, and this could just be me, but the names are a bit hard to remember, and they're very, like, it's very much. This is both a excuse me. This is both a positive and negative. That excuse me. Goodness, I probably shouldn't have ate before I did this, but this is both a positive and a negative in that uh, this show, and really, I'll even say this with Tower of God, and I'll even say Noblest. Well, with all these webtoon inspired series, all the names of the characters, like, you can feel the influence, or the well, yeah, I guess you can say you can feel the influence of that Korean, what's the word I'm looking for, that Korean, well, like it has, like, what's the best word to use here? So, like, it has that Korean names, like the names are definitely from Korea. They didn't really change the names in order to in order to make it like a lot more appealing to uh a international audience. Like with Tower of God, for instance, they changed a few names. Like they changed Jihad to Zah. Well, they changed Zahad to Jihad, but with this, they didn't change. From what I gathered, they didn't really change any of the names, and it really does feel authentic to, I guess you could say, the names of, like the typical naming conventions, for lack of a better word. It feels authentic to the naming conventions of those in Korea. And with this show, it starts out with the very basic premise, I would say. It's basically a big tournament. Like, really, this whole show, the show as a whole, it's pretty much one big tournament arc, one big tournament, right? And one of my criticisms, and I think one of the criticisms that a lot of people had with this, and I definitely agree with a lot of the with a lot of these sentiments, with a lot of these sentiments surrounding this show, such as the fact that it feels like they were kind of rushing through things, like pacing wise, it's a bit too quick. Like, I had a conversation with my brother a few months ago regarding this show, and even he even he was like, yeah, they probably could have gone for a 24 episode run, because even he was seeing the reaction of people online, and it's like, the more that I watch of this show, especially near the end of this, like, I would say like let's say like the first 9 to 10 episodes, I was feeling like, okay, this is fine. I'm not really, there are a few criticisms, there are a few issues I have here and there, but this was kind of sitting at a 7 for me. But then there is a point at like the last half of the show, like where we're kind of we're getting into the climax, and then kind of close near the end, where the show does become a bit incoherent, it becomes incoherent, and then there's like a lot of subplots, a lot of stuff happening at once, and then like the show, they don't do a good job at explaining certain things. And it's not that I want them to necessarily dump exposition everywhere, but you gotta explain some stuff, man. This show doesn't explain a lot. Like, they introduced this whole thing called Churyuk, or Churyok, right? So they introduced this thing called Churyok, and how essentially the people participating in this tournament, they borrow powers from gods, right? And but they don't really explain the power system. Like, a lot of this, they don't really explain. They might give, like with the Churiak thing, they give a little bit of an explanation for it, but not as much as I would have liked. um in the first episode, we get so like in the first episode, they introduce these nanites. Like, everybody that is participating, they get these nanites injected into their body, that basically allows the committee and everybody else participating to see their stats, essentially their level, their HP. Yes, they have HP bars. So this really felt like a video game, and that's another thing that kind of made me also kind of compare this to Tekken or to like Street Fighter. Like, this feels like very much, it really does feel like it's inspired by Tekken and stuff like, well, Tekken, Street Fighter, and like I mentioned, Dragon Ball. It feels like a mixture of those things. But yeah, like with these nanites, they're able to see people's stats, so they can see their health, their level, and their GP. In which, here's the thing, with GP, they never explained what the GP was. I'm guessing that's just like their power level, but then that can't be right because they have a level already. They have their level, their HP, and then their GP. So what was the GP? They didn't even say what that stood for. Does that stand for God points? Does that measure how much their Chiriak is? Like, there's a lot that this show doesn't explain, especially like I said before, in the last half of the show. It's like it goes bonkers. Like, at a certain point, and like I said, I'll keep the spoilers at a minimum. But it's like, oh, this happens. These people get teleported. This person is transforming out of nowhere, and like all this stuff is going on at one time. I think this show, it really could have benefited from 24 episodes, and they should have slowed things down. Because here's the thing, the show. So, and I know I'm kind of everywhere with this, right? So forgive me if I'm a bit scatterbrained, but trust me, I'm going somewhere with this, right? Because here's the thing. Let's go back to the very beginning of the show, shall we? Let's go back to the very first episode. So here's what I'll say about this. Like, overall, I can say that regardless of all of this show's flaws, right? I think it was very entertaining. I think that at the end of the day, because like I said, at the end of the day, I don't think this show was bad. Um, at its worst, it's a six, but I want to really lean in. I really want to. I'm leaning in the direction of a seven, simply because, like I mentioned before, even though there's a lot of stuff they didn't explain, that last episode kind of saved that show from getting a six or even a five from me, because they kind of explained certain things that they didn't explain in prior episodes, but there are still a lot of stuff that needs explaining. Like, but kind of getting into that first episode, kind of like bringing it back, because I know I need to. I know I need to talk about the characters. I need to talk about just like the freaking introduction of this thing, right? Because here's the thing, I'll say this. So from the first episode, it does a good job. They did a good job in terms of getting you interested in this world, right? Getting you just grabbing your attention, right? It starts out with a battle royale, man, and I can say this, man. Studio Mappa, or is it Mappa? I don't know how you pronounce it, but I'm just gonna pronounce it as Mappa. Studio Mappa. They also did Jujutsu Kaisen. Well, I think that Jujutsu Kaisen's animation is a lot better than this. Well, and I should say this. I've only seen like maybe 3 episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen, but I'll say that they did a better job in Jujutsu Kaisen. And please, just for 1 second, just let me get a little sip of water because I've been talking a lot. Okay, thank you, because I definitely needed that. But so like Jujutsu Kaisen, I think the animation's a lot better there, and that's not saying that the animation is bad here, not at all. And I even put in my notes here. Let me see, because like the animation's not bad, not bad at all. It's actually I say the animation is really good, but here's the thing: like the animation is good. It's quick. It's fluid. It's easy to follow. Like most of the action, for the most part, it's pretty easy to follow. But I did feel like in certain fight scenes, it was just something lacking. Like in a lot of the fight scenes, it felt like something was lacking. Like there was this lack of oomph. It was just something lacking. And then the way that the characters move sometimes, like the main character Mori, like the way that he moves, and certain characters move, they move in such they move in such a irregular way that it kind of looks a little weird. Like there are certain frames that look bad, or that looked bad to me, but overall I thought that the animation was good. Overall, I thought the animation was good. That was one of the things that people was hyping up going into this, was, hey, the studio behind this, Studio Mappa, and then, oh, look, the animation looks really good, and that was the thing. So I think that I would say that they delivered when it came to the animation and the fights. Like I said, this show's very entertaining. Say what you want about this, because here's the thing. Like I said earlier, looking at the trailer, I said, okay, this is gonna be shonen. This is gonna be shonen junk food. This is gonna be the Dragon Ball Z of of um of webtoons, and it is. To be honest, it is, and that's, again, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, because I think that this will be the gateway drug. Because I mentioned Dragon Ball Z because Dragon Ball Z was the gateway drug for a lot of people growing up, including myself. So I think that this could be the gateway drug that brings a lot of people into anime, and even more so brings people into watching. Well, I should say not watching, but reading the webtoons, and that's what I can at least say, that this was a pretty decent advertisement for the webtoon. But you didn't exactly, because I know there's gonna be people that are gonna be like, okay, yeah, man, this is a terrible adaptation. But here's the thing: I'm gonna come at this review, and I'm coming at this review from the I'm coming at this review from the perspective of somebody who has never read The God of High School, you know, the webtoon, right? Like, I'm coming from that perspective. I haven't read the webtoon. I watched the anime, and I'm only coming at this review from that perspective. And since I'm coming at it from that perspective, like, what I see here, it's not bad, and I think it works on paper. But again, there's stuff missing here. There's stuff that needs to be explained, and it needed to be paced better. And here's another thing I can say, because the show starts out in the middle of, in the middle of the God of High School event, right? And the preliminaries are over so quickly, just like that. And then even the semifinals, like the actual God of High School thing, the actual tournament, it's over so quickly. Like, we only get let me see. Got like maybe 9, maybe 8, maybe okay. So maybe 9, may, 10 might be pushing it, but my point is we didn't get a lot of time. We didn't get a lot of time with that tournament. Maybe we got 8 episodes of the tournament. Maybe we got 9 or 10. Like I said, 10 might be pushing it, but we didn't get a lot. And then the fights that we get, like it felt like they were just rapid fire, just going through that stuff. Because some fights we didn't even see. Some fights we didn't see, and then some fights like we got the end of the fight. Like for example, Mori's friends, and I gotta look up. Like I said, some of these names is kind of hard to remember. Han Daiwi or Daiwai. Hold on. Han Daiwi, and like I said, forgive me, I know I'm gonna be butchering a lot of these names, but Han and Mira, their fight, we get to see the end of that, and then there are other fights. Like I said, there are other fights that we see, right? There are other fights that we see that like we just see like the end of the fight or whatever. But another thing that like just kind of staying on the like the first part of the show, the introduction with that first episode, I'll say this. There's a chase in the first episode. Mori is chasing a thief that stole some old lady's it was an old lady's, I think it was a purse or something. He stole something and Mori's trying to get the purse back. And I thought that chase, it was a very creative chase scene or collection of scenes. I thought it was a pretty creative scene or collection of scenes. Um, I think that just overall, in terms of the comedy, in terms of just the show having personality, I thought that for the most part the comedy, at first a lot of it missed, but I would say it hits more than it misses. The show definitely has its own sort of personality that I eventually warmed up to it, and I could say I liked Mori. I liked Han and Mira. I like these characters. Honestly, yeah, I liked them. I liked them. I will say this, I feel like they did a good job. They honestly did a good job in terms of, and I shouldn't say they. I should actually shout out the I should actually I should have said the I should have said the author's name by now. I should have at least acknowledged who the author is. Young J Park is the author and illustrator of The God of High School, and I think that he did a good job in terms of building this sort of friendship between these characters. There's a moment where Mira loses her sword, and they end up, like all three of them, they end up looking for it, and then that sort of brings them closer together. And then there's other moments that sort of bring them closer together as friends. I mean, I kind of buy their relationship of their relationship, slowly growing. These characters slowly growing closer together through a common thing that through a common thing, which would be fighting and stuff. But yeah, so I thought as far as the characters go, I liked the main characters. One thing I will say, Mira reminded me. She's like a cross between Sakura and Rukia from Naruto and Bleach, respectively. Respectively, I should say. Yeah, she's pretty much a cross between Sakura and I should say not like the first version, not not part one Naruto, not first version Sakura. I'm talking about like Shippuden Sakura, where she's at least grown a bit. She reminds me of Shippuden Sakura with the mix of Rukia, and I say that because of both her personality, the way that she Uh, as Mori describes her as being a gorilla, as being really strong, as Mori describes her early on. She's strong, but then also just like Rukia, like in terms of her like fighting style, like she does the same thing that Rukia does, and that I'm pretty sure like other characters in Bleach have done. Like with her fighting style with the I forgot what she calls it, the moon sword thing. So like she'll like shout out her attack. She'll be like moon sword attack 59, and then she just does the joint. Like I don't know, she like I was getting like Rukia and Sakura vibes from her. But yeah, like I liked her. I liked Han. I'm glad that they didn't try to make him like. I'm glad that they didn't try to go the whole Sasuke route with this dude, but I liked him. He was cool. But yeah, like I said, I like the three main characters. Um, so I gotta say this, and let me get another sip of water. Yeah, so I gotta say this before I forget. The character designs, like I mentioned earlier, when I first saw this, the character designs, like when I first saw the character designs and the art style were the thing that I'm like, ugh, this just look ugly. And looking like just now after watching this, like especially after the first episode and stuff, like the first episode, the first thing I noticed is like, yo, why is everybody like, why does all these characters look like they got a bad cold, or like they got like they're like they got like bad sinuses, or the sniffles or something. Like they're what's the word I'm looking for? Their elbows even be looking like they got a rash, and then like their noses are like red, or like their noses are like pinkish or reddish. Like I don't like that. Like maybe that's maybe they're trying to mimic the webtoon, the art style and look of the webtoon. Maybe this is how Young G Park drew his characters in a webtoon. I haven't even read the webtoon, like I said, but yeah, this looks ugly. I'm sorry. This was something like I could not stop looking throughout all of these episodes. I could not stop. I could not stop looking at people's noses and their elbows and other parts of their body that would be like bright red, bright pink. It's an eyesore to me. It looks ugly, and a lot of these character designs. Because like I said, I like the main characters. There are other characters. Um, hmm, as far as other characters that I liked, like I liked what's his name, Taijin Jin. I liked Mori's grandfather. I liked him. Uh, there was a wrestler that I'm gonna be talking about very shortly that I liked. Like there were some characters I liked, but in terms of just the character designs overall, yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the character designs overall. There is like I said, there are a few of them. There were a few character designs that I liked. There are two characters in this show. So there are two characters in the show that they look like characters from other shows. Like there's a character that looks exactly like, she looks like Toga but with big lips. Her name is Mabora, and she just looks like Toga but with big lips. And then there's another character that looks like Kanin from Naruto, and she looks exactly like Kanin. And when I say she looks like, when I say these characters look exactly like them, like they look exactly like them, but they act differently. Well, I think the character that looks like Kanin sort of, they don't exactly have the same personality, but again, they just kind of look similar. Um, I think my favorite in terms of like my favorite character design with this, or at least I will say like the best looking one in my opinion is Jagal. Is one of the villains. One of the villains named Jagal Tayak or Taek. He looks very cool, especially his Choryak. It looks very cool. yeah. He has a very cool transformation. But as far as like the characters themselves go, I do like that we do get episodes, early on, focusing why um on why Mira is doing like we get to know why these characters are doing what they're doing, like why they are participating in the God of High School tournament, and everybody has their own reason for doing it. It's just like Wolf, like for example, One Piece is like everybody has their own reason for wanting One Piece. It's like with other shows that we've seen that you've probably seen before. Everybody has their own reason for like this. Like after watching this, like I saw a lot of similarities with Tower of God, because with Tower of God, it was like, oh, everybody has their own reason for climbing the tower, and same thing with this. Everybody has their own reason for participating in the tournament. For Han, he wanted to get enough money because he wants to save his friend's life. He wants to because his friend got sick. I don't know. I don't remember them saying what his illness was. I guess it was cancer or something, but he wanted to save his friend's life. So he's sitting here taking all these jobs and stuff, and also participating in a tournament for his sake, for his friend's sake. And Mira, like I said, like I mentioned before, Mira wants to master that sword. She wants to cuz she has this sword that has been passed down to her from her father, and her, I think they said her grandfather also used it, but her sword style essentially is a dead sword style. She wants to revive that sword style. She wants to make sure that sword style lives on, and that sword style has been passed on to her. And I honestly can say that they did this you know and again I gotta look up this guy's name because I'm gonna keep forgetting it. But I think that Young Jay did a good job. I think the author did a good job of you know of handling, especially like I love to commend anyone that especially can write good female characters in a show like this, because with the shonen, with a lot of shonen, with a lot of battle shonen, um there tends to be, or at least with Naruto, it was the case, and I think that's why I think that's why I'm so I think that's why I always love to praise a good female characters, because of just how bad Sakura, like characters like Sakura and Hinata was back in the day. So to see someone like Mira, even though she has that sort of Sakura flavor to her, she's not incompetent. She's not like, she realizes early on that she's weak, but she wants to get stronger. And this show does have a lot of its tropes, a lot of the the common a lot of the common shonen battle shonen tropes. It tackles the same sort of themes of friendship, and that whole thing of, oh yeah man, we gotta get stronger, I must get stronger. And even you even got the main character Mori, like his whole motivation for God of High School, he just wants to fight strong dudes. He's Goku, and it's kind of ironic, and I don't want to spoil nothing, but it's kind of ironic, and it's funny because I made the Dragon Ball comparison, but there's something, because I'm trying to keep spoilers. I'm trying to keep the spoilers at a minimum. But I'll say this, and hopefully this doesn't spoil too much for you. I feel like there's the same sort of inspiration, the same sort of inspiration for Dragon Ball. You can kind of get that with this. I think that's the best way I can kind of put it without spoiling it. Like Goku, and it wouldn't surprise me if the author was also inspired by Dragon Ball with this, given how this main character is. But like I said, enjoyed these three main characters, but also outside of them, the first few episodes are the preliminaries of the God of High School, and here's another thing that I didn't think that I was gonna like. Here's another thing that I didn't think that was going to be such a big deal, or at least for me, I didn't think that like it was gonna like kind of grab me. The thing that I wanted to see more of that I saw in the beginning was just these different fighting styles, man. These different fighting styles. Like everybody comes in the tournament with these different fighting styles. Some of these fighting styles, such as Mira's fighting style, they are like lost fighting styles, or fighting styles that are just like unorthodox, or just like unknown or whatever, right? And something that I loved about like the first few episodes, especially during the preliminaries, was there's this character that I mentioned earlier. There's this female wrestler, and I don't know what it was. It's very refreshing to see a show, and I've mentioned this before, that I like to see these fighting shows, especially when they're doing hand to hand. I love to see good hand to hand combat, and I thought that this show, like I said, I mentioned that the animation is really good and stuff, but the fighting in the show, I commend Studio Mappa, and even the author, for like putting these fight scenes together. The fight choreography, it's good, and I like the fact that there's all again. I like the fact that there's so many different fighting styles, and then when they brought in a wrestler at the beginning of the show that doesn't show back up later on, I was a bit disappointed, because just to see somebody, just to see a grappler, to see a wrestler, just to see a wrestler, just a different sort of fighting style, to see that in one of these shonen fighting shows. That it's kind of cool to see. It was refreshing to see, and the character herself, I like the character. I like their personality. She was slamming dudes, and bro, like I liked it. I liked it. Like I mentioned before, that battle royale where everyone, the battle royale in the first episode, like it was really like that was really entertaining. I can't understate that enough. Like there were like, let's say, there were maybe four fights in this where I could say, yeah, that was cool. That was really, really cool. But I don't think there was any fight that I don't think that there was any fight that made me go, oh my god, this show was just freaking amazing. Like there wasn't a fight in the show that made me want to go text my friend, or text any of my friends, or make a or like post on here, make a community post, or anything, go online, go on the internet and start talking about it. It wasn't like Tower of God when I saw that the first time, where like I was just blown away by a lot of the stuff that I was seeing. Um, yeah, there wasn't anything like that. Like I mentioned before, it's something missing in the fights, and something that also surprised me about this also was the opening and the ending. Because when I first heard that opening theme, and like I said, I know I'm all over the place, but that's usually how I am when I don't script stuff. But yeah, that opening contradiction. When I first heard that, I'm like, what is this dubstep crap? Because I don't like dubstep. I know like some of y'all might like it, but I don't like that dubstep crap, right? So I'm like, what is this? I've listened to that song over and over and over and over, and I hated it. I hated it. And then finally, after listening to it for like the 20th time, and I think what made me to start liking it was, there's this video out there where somebody put the opening theme, uh they put the opening theme, but they put the opening cinematics to Tekken 7, and I'm like, oh my god, this actually works, and it's actually not a bad song. Like, and then seeing it with the show, with the opening animation, and I'm just like, wow, this actually works. Because at first I was like, because I heard another song that's related to the God of High School. It's a song called "Fly to High," and "Fly to High" sounds so much better than "Contradiction," but honestly, that song at least gives the show its own flavor, or at least in terms of the opening. And I feel like looking at the opening, when you see the opening, it's like very colorful. It's very colorful and it's very stylish. And even like you can look at this poster that I have up, this promotional image, and you can look at it, and like I wanted the show to kind of look a bit more like that. I wanted the fights to kind of have that sort of, I don't know. I wanted there to be a bit more flair with it. Like, yeah, the animation. Like I said, I can keep saying the same thing over and over with the animation and the fight choreography and all this crap. Like, I can talk about that. I can say that, oh, all that was good and everything. But there was something that was missing. There was something that was missing. And I feel like that opening, it had it. That opening had that little something that was missing from the fights itself, and I wish they could have brought that in there. But yeah, the opening was good. The ending was good too. Like, and these songs is like I probably wouldn't listen to it outside of the context of the show. But then it's like you start listening to it after like the 20th or 30th time or whatever. You're bopping your head to it, you know. So the music was good. The music was good. But something I will say, kind of getting back into the characters. So like they tried early on to, and let me look at my notes here, because there was something I did want to mention about the characters and how they tried to. Okay, so like there's a moment early on where like the characters are talking about their motivations as to why they are participating in the tournament, and I believe it is Mori that starts the conversation, and even the character points out how like it's not as smooth. Like the way that they try to transition into talking about their motivations and kind of getting that across, kind of trying to get that across to the audience, their motivations and everything. It's not smooth, and even the character even mentions it. I believe Mira mentions it. Mira tells Mori that like it kind of comes out of nowhere. He's like, "Yo, so like why are y'all why are y'all participating in the God of High School tournament?" And so like that little part right there, like that might seem kind of minor to y'all, but I just thought I mentioned it, that like that part didn't feel kind of organic. Like the show, like at first it has, outside of like the fighting and stuff, it has like I said, it has a little small issues, but like I mentioned before, I could definitely buy like the friendship, the friendship that ends up budding between them. I buy that a lot more than just for example, and I know a lot of people probably hate to hear me mention this, but I buy their friendship more than I buy Gon, Killua, and Kurapika and the other dude from Hunter x Hunter. I buy their friendship a lot more with this within those few episodes that we get in this 12 to 13 episode series. I buy it. I buy it a lot more. Um, let me see. Let me see here. I'm just going through my notes. I'm just going through my notes. Hold on. So yeah, but yeah, I buy their friendship completely. Let me see. Okay, so here's something I gotta mention though, because there are moments in this. Okay, trying to, without spoiling, because I'm trying not to spoil anything, but there are points in here where a character, well, let's just say Mori and Han, right? There are points in there where they do something that is against the rules of the tournament, right? And they interrupt fights because, and I won't say which fights because, like I said, trying to keep spoilers at a minimum, but they interrupt fights, and they interrupt it for good reason because, yeah, this is going too far. Let me just say this. Yeah, I know it's a cartoon. I know it's an anime. Don't take it too seriously. Don't read into it too much. But I'm just like, these referees suck. These referees freaking suck. At one point, you're like, oh no, you can't do this. You're suspended. You're gonna be, you're gonna be penalized for this, or we're gonna figure out what the punishment is later or whatever. But then at another point, when a certain character is getting beaten to death to an inch of their life, they're like, oh, we got to stop the match. It's like, okay, choose what y'all think is like. Y'all need to choose what y'all think is crossing the line. Like, what is crossing the line here? Because there's that character I mentioned earlier. What's his name? Chico. Yeah, Chico, who dang near almost murder. Ugh, can't even speak right now. He dang near almost killed somebody, and it's like, I mean, they sort of mention it, but it's like y'all need to decide. Y'all need to just decide. What is fair and what is not. Like, what is against the rules. That was just something that just kind of stuck out to me. Just kind of gonna go through my notes just a little bit more, just to see if I missed anything before we wrap this thing up, because I think I covered a lot of this already. So, like I mentioned, the end of the show. Well, not the end of the show, but I mentioned the back half of the season, the last half of the season, like near the climax and everything, and how basically, you know, it got a little too it got a little too incoherent. It's very messy. Like I mentioned before, they could have took their time with kind of explaining things and everything. Like I said, um, but kind of getting back to a point that I mentioned earlier about just the show kind of breezing through everything and pacing wise. Um, yeah, it just kind of sucks that we didn't get to see a lot more of the actual freaking tournament. And just to kind of bring it back to one of the, I guess you could say one of the inspirations or whatever for this show, or at least one of the things that it sort of reminded me of. Because like I said, it really does feel like anime Tekken. It really is anime Tekken. And at the start of each match, the announcer announces the participants for the fight. So like it could be Han versus, it could be Han versus Mori, or Han versus Mirror, or just anybody, right? And then you'll get these splash screens of like the characters and versus or whatever. Just think the versus screens on Street Fighter or Tekken. They have those screens up there. It's like they literally ripped those things from Street Fighter 4 and everything. So it really does feel like it is inspired by those games, by Tekken and by Street Fighter, by fighting games. I mean, right down to like I mentioned before, the nanites. The thing with the nanites where you're able to see people's HP and level and everything like that. So like I do like, and that's one thing I can say about this, is that it feels, even though it feels like in terms of the plot, it's very simple. Oh, it's a martial arts tournament arc, everybody, tournament arc, right? Like it's very simple in terms of its plot, and like it's just like the basic concept. But there are things that are in here, such as borrowing powers from the gods, and then like I said, there's stuff in here, right? And like the thing with the nanites and everything, there's stuff in here that helps to make it unique, and helps to like kind of give it its own unique twist. I've seen some type of it was a meme. It was either a meme or something my friend sent me a while back that called this um they called it Korean Naruto. And honestly, outside of a nine-tailed, because there is a nine-tailed thing in there, but God, I'm trying to avoid spoilers, so I'm not gonna say who it is, or anything else involving that thing. But there are some similarities to Naruto, but it's not really. I can't really call this Korean Naruto. It's not. Yes, they fight in a God. Before I gotta stop myself before I spoil anything else. Listen, there's similarities to it, but it's not Naruto. It's exactly what I said. It's exactly what I said before. It's Dragon Ball. It's Dragon Ball meets Tekken. That's exactly what this is. and it's shown in junk food, and I liked it. It was entertaining, yeah, sure, but there's one more thing like I mentioned before I go ahead and close this thing out because we about an hour into this thing. Um, there was something that took me out of this, right? And it might be a minor little thing to some of y'all, right? Um, I think it was like the first or second episode. I think it might have been the first episode where they just completely plaster the webtoons and Crunchyroll logo while talking about the two assistants, right? The two assistants that help to recover people. They help to like they use the nanites to help people recover after a match, right? And so like they plaster the logos for webtoons and Crunchyroll, and then even on the arena itself, you see the Crunchyroll and webtoons those logos. That kind of took me out of it. I don't like it when shows do stuff like that. Like that kind of took me out of the show. So that's something that and again, it might just be minor, might just be a minor thing to it might be a minor thing to some of y'all, but that was a minor thing that I didn't like. But yeah, I think I talked about everything. So overall, just to sum up, right? We got the opening and ending, right? Like I mentioned before, music is good. Music is good. Animation is good. It's quick. It's fluid. You can actually tell, what's going on. Because a lot of times with like certain shows, they like, and especially like certain battle shonen, like they'll have like just explosions and pretty lights, just going on, just everything, just like it's very bombastic, and all these lights and all this other bull crap happening on the screen. You don't know what's going on. Some of y'all can't even tell what's going on. Some of y'all have to like take that joint into Sony Vegas, then like quickly go frame by frame because you don't even know what's going on, man. Like, but you could really tell what was going on with like I said, the fight choreography is really good, and this show honestly had something for everybody. I feel like, and like I feel like it had that like if you're a big fan of fisticuffs, hand to hand combat, it definitely had a lot of that. Like I mentioned before, the wrestler with the grappling, like the different fighting styles. That's in that's in the show. They got the different fighting styles, but then they got the Dragon Ball Z part of this, and it definitely turns the Dragon Ball Z during the I want to say like during the second half of the season. It turns into Dragon Ball Z, especially episodes. I want to say episodes 10 through 13, or episodes 9 through 13, something like that. It turns into Dragon Ball Z where everybody just spamming these choryuks, these different powers from these gods, and I'm just like, yeah, what is going on here? What's going on here? But yeah, it's a very entertaining it is very entertaining action wise. It's where it's the plot. Not the plot. Excuse me. It's the pacing uh, that I thought was the issue. It's pacing, and just I don't even really want to say writing because it's not on the author. I don't think it's on the author. It's on whoever is the person that helped plan the series. And let me see if I can look this up. Let me see. So the anime series is written by Kyoko, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Kyoko Yoshimura. Yeah, that guy. You're to blame, I would say. Who, the people that helped to write it. I would say maybe they are to blame, and then the person that did the concept art. I'm putting some blame on you in terms of the bad. I mean, not concept art. The character designs and stuff. I'm putting that on him. In terms of the bad character designs for a lot of the characters, and that weird, because I think it's just, again, I think it's just ugly. The reddish pinkish noses and elbows and everything like that. I think it's ugly, But again, if that was a artistic decision based on the author's based on the author's drawings, then I guess you can kind of give it a pass. But I will also say this, while I'm summing everything up in terms of the art and everything, um well, I should say character design. With the main character, I'll say this because when I saw the main character at first, especially, I'm like, man, this guy, like, I don't really like his design at all. But you know what? You know what? I eventually, he kind of grew on me. Minus the nose, he grew on me, man. He grew on me. But like I said, yeah. So like animation, really good. We had the music. I covered the music and everything. Um, like I said, writing. Uh, man, like the writing isn't necessarily bad because here's the thing. Um, I talked about I talked about I talked about the fact that I liked the stuff with the characters and stuff, right? But again, they could have explained more. That's my and I apologize if I sound like a broken record, but they really because it can't just be me when a lot of people on the internet are saying, yeah, this was just like if you're somebody who read the webtoons, then you're not gonna be confused. But if you're somebody like me who just coming into this, you're like, yeah, what's going on? At many points, you're just like, what's going on? And even going back to the whole pacing issue thing, like they breeze through. Like when I say that they breeze through a lot, like for example, the introduction of the six, and I already talked about the preliminaries, and then like the main God of High School event after the preliminaries, and then like there's so much they just kind of just like let's quickly rush through it instead of like taking their time, or even if even if even if they didn't necessarily rush through it, like just stuff kind of needed time to breathe. This should have been 24 episodes. It probably could have benefited for 24 episodes at least. But yeah, I think I've said everything. I talked about the music, talked about the writing, the pacing, and stuff. Yeah, I think I've covered everything. Hopefully. But yeah, like I mentioned before, this is definitely at the lowest is a 6, at the highest is a 7. It's definitely God of mid school. It's definitely middle of the road, but it's not offensively terrible. Surprisingly, because some people, there are people out there that overhype stuff and overrate stuff, and I'm just like, once I get to it, because going back to kind of getting back to what like what I said earlier about my brother, telling me to constantly watch the show, texting me like, man, you need to watch the show. The show's amazing. And then like I'm sitting there watching this joint today. I'm just like, what part of this show like blew your mind? Because he's one of those people that like he watched like after he watched Tower of God, he was like, yeah, like it was cool, it was okay, but he was blown away by this, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know what I don't know which show you just watched. Like I'm just sitting there like, yeah, like it's cool, like it's entertaining, it's not bad, but I'm like I'm just not blown away by it. But hopefully if we get a second season, hopefully if Webtoons is smart, they'll give us a 24 episode season for the second season, and hopefully kind of fill in a lot of the gaps, because like I said, there's a lot. You might think I'm just repeating myself for the sake of repeating myself, but I'm not. Like there's a lot that I feel like y'all need to explain this, man. Explain. Go into detail. You don't have to have exposition, but you need to explain something, right? They explained the Churyuk, however you pronounce it. They explained it, but they didn't go into detail, and like they just didn't go into enough detail for me, especially if there's some sort of like deeper power system to it. But yeah, man. Enough me repeating my points here. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this review. Apologies, I know it's gonna be like over an hour to sit here and watch this, so I want to apologize if this kind of felt a little scatterbrained. But like I said, I just got off watching this, and I don't have time to like script everything out, unfortunately, this week. If you guys enjoy listening to this review, feel free to hit the like button. If you didn't like this review, just go ahead and hit the dislike button. You know, it's not gonna bother me. Also, if you guys want to support me, there is a link in the description to my PayPal. And actually, if you guys want to see me do reviews for other anime or manga or video games or any other type of video suggestions, you can actually donate to my PayPal. You can send a certain amount of money. In the description, I have my rates. It's a one-time thing. All you gotta do is pay, like, let's say $10, and I'll do a video review or a video on a certain anime or manga or whatever. You know, you can go ahead and donate to my PayPal, and I will actually look at the anime or play the video game or whatever that you want me to do. But I just wanted to go ahead and kind of put that out there just in case there's any of y'all that have any requests for me. I'll actually do it if you pay me. So yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Thank you guys for watching the God of High School review, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section below in regards to the show. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.